Now I'd like to move on to our question and answers. Our first question is from Yvonne, and it's, "Hi Cathe, loving STS. Who knew I could bench press 65 pounds? That's great, Yvonne. I have a question. How do you stop your elbows from flaring when you do the flat bench tricep extensions? Could you demonstrate the proper form on Cathe TV? Thanks." Okay, Yvonne, what I'm going to do is, you didn't really specify dumbbell or barbell, so I'm going to show you on the barbell and then show you the option with the dumbbells. We'll have a seat here. You're going to roll back if you're joining with me. And as always, the feet need to be anchored, so you're either going to bring them up on your bench or flat on your floor, whatever is comfortable for you. Arms are going to be up. You are going to keep your wrists strong and straight in a fixed position. Now, one way to really ensure that your elbows do not flare is to keep them about shoulder width distance on the bar. So if your hands are too narrow and they're close together, this is actually encouraging them to flare, because the closer your thumbs are to one another, the more when you bend your arms, it creates that flared out triangle effect. Similar to like the triangle push-ups when we keep our thumbs close together. So you want to keep your hands just under the shoulders here. And then your knuckles stay straight to the sky and your wrist stays straight up. And you're just going to keep your arm in this fixed position, and you're going to bring it down just toward the forehead and back up. And focus on keeping those elbows straight up and down versus the elbows kicking out to the side. Another thing to do while you're in this position is to imagine your arm like a big flagpole. So from your arm is going to be fixed right into the earth, and the only movement is going to be in the forearms. So from the elbow straight down into the shoulder, there is no movement. Give that visualization of two sticks just straight down into the ground, as opposed to kicking out like that, and that will help you keep your alignment as well. So you want to keep it down and up, okay? Now, if you were to, another thing, if you're really still struggling with that, is to get dumbbells and do the exercise with dumbbells. And instead of taking the hand grip that we just did for the barbell, you're going to put your hands in this vertical position right here, down and up. Now this position just naturally keeps your wrists in better alignment because it avoids the thumb flaring. Anytime you turn your thumbs inward, it tends to want to kick the elbows outward. So if you have your hands in this natural anatomical position here, it's just going to naturally make it more comfortable and less stressful. So now you can really focus on your weight. And for my final point, what I'd like to stress is that if you are still having your elbows flare as you're attempting to do the exercise, back off on the weight and keep your weights very light. And that way you can focus on your form versus being distracted by your weight selection. Okay, let's move on to another question. The next question is from Miasmum. "Hi Cathe, I'm having trouble keeping the bar in place without pain during front squats in Meso 3. I'm using 85 pounds on the bar for this exercise, and that weight is bruising my upper arms, shoulders, and is a huge stress on my hands when I try to hold it in place, particularly for my thumbs. I've tried the criss-crossed hand position and that hurts too. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated." Okay, let's start with some form pointers first. When you pick up the bar, and you're going to bring the bar right up toward, in an underhand grip, right up toward the collarbone. And you're going to angle your elbows out, and they're basically creating a tabletop so that when you go down, the weights don't roll off of your arms. So keep your arms up like this, and the weights placed between the thumb and the fingers. And that might be where you're feeling your stress. You may not realize it, but as you're going down into the movement, you might be tilting too far, and then all that weight is stressing your thumbs. So I'm going to turn to the side so I can show you how to go down. Now, you're going to go down with a straighter back versus when the weight is on your back for a traditional squat. You can go a little deeper. Now, because your position's more vertical, it's nice because it takes pressure off the back, but it also shifts the weight forward into the shoulders more. And because there's that tendency of feeling like the weight might slide off the arms, your hands might be taking more stress than they need to be. So you are shifting your weight now into the quadriceps more in this front squat. You want to go down vertically, and you don't need to go as deep, and you might not even need to go as heavy because of the counterbalance going on here. So really focus on the form and go down and up, keeping those elbows pointed forward as you go down so the weight doesn't slide and shift into your hands. Okay, now if you're still experiencing any kind of pain from that in your thumbs or your wrists, some things you can keep in mind, or you mentioned your shoulders feel it a little bit too, is you can take a towel and put it around your shoulders just like this, so it's actually cushioning the shoulder a little bit, and then pick up your bar and do it, so it'll be right here in the front. And as far as your wrists go, one thing you might want to keep in handy are weight-lifting gloves, and that will keep the slip out of it. Sometimes when you're lifting heavier or your hands get sweaty, there's a little slipping going on there, and that could be stressing the thumbs as well, trying to hold the grip. And one final tip for you is to stretch your thumb and wrist. That also, just having more liberal movement in those areas could help give you better flexibility for the movement. And a good wrist stretch would be to bring your hands down like this, and then you could turn the other way and go back. That'll get your forearms nicely stretched out and your wrists as well. And then you can also stretch your thumb, and basically just hold your hand out like this and pull back gently on your thumb. And obviously you would do this on both arms. Okay, hopefully you found that helpful. That's it for this week of Cathe TV. Hopefully all that information will improve your future workouts. Enjoy your active recovery and get ready to pump it up with some heavy weights in Mesocycle 3.